Hello, everybody, and welcome to our July meetup with special guest speaker Kerry Woods-Shelley. And I will allow you to introduce yourself to everyone.
Hi, so I'm Kerry Wood-Shelley. I'm Kerry. I've been a teacher of LAMDA since 1990, so 36 years. I've been an examiner roughly 20 years and I retired last year. So I'm not working for LAMDA anymore and I look like this because I'm at the beach at the moment on my hollybobs. So there we go. I was an examiner when exams were taken on the day and results were given out on the day. And I've seen lots of changes with the exam boards, LAMDA included, reporting styles, marking criteria, criteria of pass, distinction, and fail. And over the years, some things have been great, some things haven't been great, some things have turned out to be great, but when we're teachers, we don't always think they're great. And sometimes they're absolutely awful and they got rid of them. So that's good. Sometimes, always, and never. I think you'll possibly remember of those of you that have had a lot of experience of LAMDA. Personally, as an examiner, I tried really hard never to use those three words. And I didn't get reports back. So there were ways around it, but it was a difficult time. So as a teacher and examiner, I also worked through COVID. And coming out of COVID really, I think, set the online examination path going. And so there's a whole load of other criteria that goes alongside doing the in-person exams and doing the online exams. But the basic examination is the same and the process is the same. It's just a different format to go through. So bear with because I have got notes because Gabby asked me to prepare some things that you'd asked about. So I'd like to start off really with common mistakes. These are not exhaustive. These are just things that as a teacher and as an examiner, I've come across a lot. So if we'd like to look at the common mistakes really linked to the knowledge, a lot of it is that the questions are not read properly. And I think as teachers, we have to take responsibility for the fact that we have to disseminate the questions for the children, for the learners. I don't have to say learners anymore, for the students. Yeah, so it's really important. And sometimes that doesn't happen. And sometimes I think that as teachers, we may forget that it's a 10-minute, 5-minute, 10-minute, if we're in a medal exam, section of an exam. So unless you're succinct and unless it comes from the student's actual body of knowledge, they're going to get very, very stuck if during the discussion a question is asked to qualify something. And we've all been there. We've all said exhalation when we've meant inhalation. And as an examiner, we were very reticent about stopping somebody and going, did you mean this? But I found over the years, if you didn't say that, then they would go down the wrong path and possibly not pass that part of the exam. So read the questions, really read the questions, break the questions down, and then make your learner understand what that question means, because mood and feelings are two very different things. And it's a way of making sure that they're connected with their work. I always start with the knowledge and work onto the performances from that, because I know then what they need to know from their knowledge. If you look at the online examinations, if do any of you do online, I'll just be very brief with it. But a lot of the time, they've been taught very well, but unfortunately, they haven't had the session where they've done their exam online. So their head disappears, or they're looking at the ceiling, or you miss a nuance of the fact that they're doing a speech where they're talking to their shoes, but you can't see their feet. You can only see them from the face down or something. So make sure that camera angles and things like that. And the other thing in the knowledge is, I could be a boy or I could be a girl, or it could mean this or it could mean that. I can't mark it could be. I need you to make a decision and tell me what your decision is before I can give a mark. So with the little ones, very often they'll be talking about curl. What is curl? And they'll show you, or they'll do an action. And you'll say something like, well, could you tell me what that means? Give me an example. Oh, she's got curly hair. So what does that curl look like? Oh, it's a spiral. There you go. They've got a mark. But that does require the examiner to give quite a lot of extra information. So as a teacher, just try and really, drill down on the question and give the answers to your students. The script didn't say is something, Girls Like That is a script where it's girl A or it's nasty girl or it's, they have titles, but they don't have character names. They do have characters, but not character names. And at distinction level, if they turn around and say, well, I don't know her objective because the script didn't say, or she hasn't got a character, I can't tell you about it. It's very tricky for an examiner to try and give them the marks for that. So again, be very open with them. For an examination, you're not doing the whole play for the purposes of the scene. So as long as you say that, for the purposes of my scene, Eliza is in love with the professor, or Eliza's in love with the colonel. It's wrong, perhaps, but at grade 4, it doesn't matter. If you justify it with what you did and your answer covers the things that you need to cover, then it's 4 marks. So it's about understanding what they understand with the knowledge. Acting, there's lots of things that happen with acting. One of the main things is if you take a scene from an old anthology, none of those scenes are timed. So you may find in the new anthologies that you're using that a scene goes over the 5 minutes or under the 3 minutes or whatever it is, but that's because it's a set piece and it's allowed to. So if you're going to take an anthology piece, an old anthology piece, perfectly reasonable to do it. Lots of people do it, but you can then cut and you must time because the number of exam sessions I've had that have run over because they're doing an ex anthology piece and an anthology piece and it hasn't been timed, and the examiner stops marking after the time, not on a set piece, but on an own choice piece. So you don't lose marks per se, but it's a mistake that you don't really want your students to have to worry about.